sales tax revenue from them when they weren't doing it, and also threatening suit against them. I did end up talking with some people over in, or not some people, a person who was involved on the Allegheny County Zone who knew what was going on about if that, just verifying for myself that pressure was real and it's a real risk. And he had told me it was, that the Allegheny kind of went through the ringer because they were sort of the last. I don't know if have you been over to their clerk's office? It's beautiful over there, but or not clerk's office, but actually the clerk's office is too, but the court system. But they were the last originally to come into compliance, and now there are other regulations that we're not in compliance with now, and so we've been primarily negotiating with the state to keep it. This is going to sound funny to everyone, but as small as we can. Because nobody, when we started negotiating with the state, thought that it would be anywhere near this through the Office of Court Administration. And then, I don't know, you may have seen, this will be the last thing that I talk about tonight, but you may have seen an article talking about basically the district attorney requesting more employees, and that was in the Leader this morning. And so he is saying that they have had to provide more attorney hours at this cap court than they expected, and so he basically wants another position to help cover that for being at arraignments. I think that he has the ability to discuss with the district attorney or the sheriff or the arresting officer on what they would want for bail, and instead of it actually having to be at every appearance, he doesn't have to, unlike the public defender. And there are other changes coming down as well, which actually is going to remove a lot of the bail hearing anyways, and Betsy knows a lot more about this, but they're going to do away with cash bail in large part, and there's also some question about how that's going to affect the jail system in general. There may be fewer inmates in there, and so it's I kind of think that the best approach right now would not be to add too many people, or if we do add a position, not to fund it yet until we see some of the data getting into the next year on how some of the changes in the state are going to affect things. Because the other thing that the district attorney has coming down that is a very big concern is the state laws are changing, have changed. There's a lot of changes, but to require the district attorney to basically turn over all evidence that they have very early on in the case now, much more evidence than they had to previously turn over, so that the public defender or the accused person's attorney, if it's not a public defender, has the ability to evaluate all the evidence that the state has on them, right from 911 calls to right through to every piece of paperwork that they've got. Which I actually don't think that's a bad law. I think that if you're accused, and there's probably a lot of people on the other end of this, but I think that it's good that if you're accused, most people don't have a staff of investigators and everybody else who can help them, who have the time to put together the case. So if you can at least know what the evidence is against you to be able to plead or go to court, then I think that that's a fair way to handle things, basically. And it helps to stack the deck a little bit less against people who are accused, because there are some people who really are wrongfully accused. However, that is going to be a real thing that's going to cost them more man hours, and so we're going to see what that's going to take. So that's where a lot of our budget pressure is probably going to be this upcoming year. We don't think that there's going to be a large budget increase on the county end, but our levy could go up a little bit, and of course we're going to try and keep it down. The last couple of years, the tax levy has actually decreased by but I'm not sure what the rates will do either, but, that's the update that I have right now. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask?
You don't get any funding from the Justice Fund and all of the stuff there?
So they fund, like, there's this little cart that's there, and I think that there's an OCA staff person there for that.
For what?
For running like the computer and stuff at the
IT?
hearings, yeah.
No,
Okay,
no, there's no clerk.
Because that was one of the things that the sheriff was saying too, is that there's even some of their COs are having to come in and deal with technology issues. Have you seen that happen at all?
I trained, well, one day, I didn't have the regular CO that's normally there, and he is very good. You know, he gets everything set up for the judges that aren't their own clerk.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, Aaron, there's 3 sheets of paper that we have to deal with. Basically, 3 sheets, unless it's an order of protection, and then, you know, that involves more. But, there is no need, in my opinion, there's no need for a clerk, but I'm my own clerk. And the CO that's there is good, but, you know, if he's not there, court goes on without him, and we make it through okay.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of judges had to go back the next day and fix their mistakes, but, as far as having a regular person do that,
Well,
I can't see the need for it.
I mean, these projects have it's already been submitted by the sheriff and the district attorney before that they needed more staff because of the cap work. The sheriff added 4 positions, and there's a 5th that's probably going to be added, although I tried to keep it to 2 before, and that was when I was still on the public safety committee. I'm not on that anymore. So what they did was there were 2 that were put in, and then 2 that would be filled later if necessary, and then it was deemed necessary, and these other 2 came in. But so 4 sheriff deputy positions were added in part for transport between the city court systems. But yeah, so
I did the arraignments by myself here, right along. And I didn't have a deputy, I didn't have a clerk, and most of us did. Anybody that was called in for an arraignment didn't call your clerk in too at 2 o'clock in the morning. You came in and you did it yourself. So I guess my question is, why would it be any different over there
for the
arraignment?
cap.
For CAP. Why is it any different than doing arraignments here?
Well, the 2 people, some of the sheriff positions that were added on, they were added on primarily for transporting people from the city of Corning and the city of Cornell over to Bath. And that was, the cities were sort of holding out from the plans for a little while, and that was also part of an agreement with them to get it to work. But
because the city court judge is back the night shift.
Yeah, and the city court judge, before we got something done, was saying, I'm not doing any more arraignments as is, because I think we're out of constitutional compliance. But because Judge Doran came down and said that what you're doing right now is unconstitutional. But the Cornell City Police Chief, so they're being transported over to the jail because that's a holding facility. And the Hornell City Police Chief had basically said that they could continue to hold people over there. But the way that it was negotiated by the sheriff, I think basically ignored what Hornell was saying.
It's not certified. The jail down in Hornell isn't certified to hold it.
They were a holding facility.
Just for Hornell.
No. Yeah, but it was about Hornell inmates that we were transporting. So I think that they could have still done it, but the issue was that they were saying that Corning didn't have an ADA compliant holding facility or something, and they also didn't want to have to keep an extra officer on duty for it. I don't remember exactly, it was like 6 months now ago when we were doing it, but I said, well, why don't we just let Hornell have some savings then and not have to hire 2 people to transport from Hornell. And I also tried to make it so that we would establish a route because the cap court was, there's different times of day. You have to basically have people there every 8 hours, I think it is, from between morning and night. And I said, well, can't we take 2 officers then and have a route where the 2 officers go over to Hornell and then bring them to Bath, and then go from Bath over to Corning and bring the people from Corning to Bath. And everybody wouldn't get there at the exact same time, but assuming there even are people coming from both places, because another option, if you had a special day, would be to, you know, pay overtime or something, get a couple extra people. If you don't have regular people who have coverage anyways, which I think that we probably did, but then you could bring people from, you could do a route instead of like sending everybody out at once and having to come back. But you know, it's that anytime there's something new, then people are, you know, believe that they need to make sure that everything is running very quickly right off the bat and have new employees for it. But I would rather wait in some of these scenarios and see kind of how it shakes out before we add them on. And you can cover things with overtime and stuff for a while, but because a lot of times once you add the positions, you don't cut back.
It's gonna be about like school busing.
Yeah,
You look at all these buses in Hornell, like this morning, going down the streets, all these small towns, great big bus going down the street, 1 or 2 kids in it.
yeah, the buses aren't cheap either.
Thank you, Aaron. Next up is Justice Farley.
Court's held every Monday. Attached, please find my information related to my monthly submission to the State Comptroller Justice Court Fund. August 23rd, magistrate officers met with Judge Doran in Canandaigua to discuss procedures for the no bail that will be effective January 1st, 2020. Additional training is required for all justices. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know.
Next up is a report from the assessor, Holly Small. Each year, ORPTS, or ORPS, analyzes local market data to compute RARs, Residential Assessment Ratio, and equalization rates. For 2020, the ORPS will rely on sales that have occurred through June 30th, 2019. Therefore, it is important that assessors ensure only valid sales are used and all sales data is accurate. All sales that occurred through June 30th should be corrected and must be transmitted to ORPS by August 30th, 2019. All sales for Fremont have been reviewed and transmitted to ORPS by the August 31st deadline. School tax bills went out the first week of September. If a property owner has a question regarding their bill, they need to contact the school tax collector at the number on the bill. If they have a question regarding their STAR exemption, they need to contact the Department of Taxation and Finance at 518-457-2036. This is only for new STAR applicants that have registered for the STAR credit after March 1st, 2015. All other STAR questions shall be directed to me. I attended the Assessors Association meeting on August 22nd, and I will be back to my regular office hours on October 2nd. Once again, if there are any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me, Holly Small. Next up is a Code Enforcement Officer report from John Leonard Jr. From 7/31 to 9/1/2019, 1 modular home, 1 pool with deck, 4 septic systems, 1 demolition, 1 fire inspection, 2 complaints, and 480 miles. Next up is the dog control report from Deborah Matthews, DCO. On August 2nd, a dog at large complaint, Husky Shepherd mix, running at large on State Route 21 South, damaging the property. On August 10th, dog at large, English setter, running at large on State Route 21 South, picked it up and transported it to the kennel, and it's the second pickup. On August 11th, I met with owner to release dog, warning given. August 29th, dog at large complaint, English setter, running at large in State 21 South. Pickup transport to the kennel, third pickup. August 29th, met with owner to release a dog, issued ticket for running at large. In August, she had 3 running at large complaints, 1 ticket, and fees collected of $125. And then the highway report, Ron?
Yep. This month, we gravel, graded, rolled, and salt lined on Eastman, Canfield, Conderman, Russell, and Hungry Hollow roads. We helped Hornellsville finish their oil and stone. We did a service for the cemetery. We did ditching on Davis and Babcock roads, and we hauled salt brine from Andover.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anything from the planning board? Tom?
We did not have any parcels this time.
ZBA?
There's a letter in the conference room for the planning board, if you wanna grab that before you go.
So at this time, we will go into new business. We need a resolution to destroy the following records. There's a MU-1 schedule. Looks like canceled checks from 71 to 1985, bank statements, dog license, tax collection records, and invoices. But do these follow the schedule?
Yes, that's what the retention years is, the number of years that you have to hold them. Scheduled item is where it's located in the retention booklet and the page number. Whichever one is look it up.
Okay. You want a motion to
Yes.
do that? I make a motion to do, destruct records. Yeah, what is it?
Roll call?
Whitman,
Aye.
Phelps,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Keith, Murray.
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstains.
I did add in one more resolution to get rid of 4 tables downstairs that are pretty badly damaged. Sue found.
Yeah, we have 16 tables total. When they're putting them back, we noticed that some of them are in really bad shape. I mean, they're out in the water and they're all open and stuff. That would leave us with 12 tables. I think that's probably plenty to take care of anybody that wanted to use it downstairs.
Anyone ready to make a motion to throw away 4 tables?
Or give them to someone.
Or, yeah.
Make a motion to dispose of the tables to either garbage or somebody wants them.
Roll call?
Murray,
Aye.
Smith,
Aye.
Phelps,
Aye.
Kiefer,
Aye.
Whitman.
Aye.
5 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstains.
The assessor appointment is up for another 6-year term. I have a letter from her I'll read. Dear board members, thank you for allowing me to serve as the assessor for the town of Fremont. My time has been well spent over this term and with the completion of a successful reevaluation project. It has been a pleasure working with the town board and the property owners of Fremont. Many people ask what the functions of the assessor are. The assessor is a local government official who estimates the value of the property within the town boundaries. This value is converted to an assessment, which is one component of the computation of a real property tax. The assessor is obligated by New York State law to maintain assessments at a uniform percentage of market value each year. The assessor signs an oath to this effect when certifying the tentative roll, the document containing each property assessment. The physical description or inventory and value estimate of each parcel is required to be kept current. In order to maintain a uniform roll each year, your assessor will need to analyze all of the properties in the municipality to determine which assessments need to be changed. The assessor performs many other administrative functions, such as inspecting new construction and major improvements to existing structures. This ensures that the record of each property's physical inventory